Big reveal was made on YouTube and Twitter 2 days ago about the future of Errol Spence Jr. and him having signed Calvin Ford as his new trainer. The Calvin Ford that comes from the camp of Gervonta Davis. Let's talk about that rumor in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to update you on the word around Errol Spence Jr. and statements that have been made regarding his hiring of coach Calvin Ford, Gervonta Tank Davis's trainer out of Baltimore, Maryland, out of Upton Gym, Calvin Ford. Now, before I get into the details of this absolute malarkey, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So take a listen.
Yo. Coach Calvin, Coach Kenny, what's going on?
What's up, man? What's happening? The Rise Podcast is in the building. What's up?
Man, late breaking news, man. Word on the street. You ready to get a new fighter? Y'all ready to get a new fighter?
I see what's going on. Listen, check this out, y'all. I have been talking to a lot of guys, and the guys that know I've been talking to. No, I'm not training Errol Spence because I haven't talked to Errol Spence. Let's clear that up right there. But I have talked to major guys, but I haven't been saying I'm gonna train anybody, because right now I gotta worry about what's in front of us. The only thing I worry about what's on my plate, what's in front of me. So people that saying I'm training this person, training that person, not training that person unless I physically talk to somebody, and then I have a protocol that I go through. You know what I'm saying? And if I don't do that protocol, because everything got to be in a systematic, I have a team around me. You know what I'm saying? When I'm working with somebody, so at the end of the day, I got to make sure it works. Put in the right perspective.
Well, there you go. That is the reaction of Coach Calvin Ford talking about, and shout out to the Rise Podcast, talking about the potential of signing Errol Spence Jr. and of training Errol Spence Jr. And the answer was a resounding no, we're not doing that. Now, why would people say that they were? Why the importance behind Gervonta Davis signing Errol Spence Jr.? Because it makes headlines. Unfortunately, it's some messy stuff that people are not going to get into. Now, I have to tell you that Calvin Ford opened the door to this a little bit when Calvin Ford said in an interview not too long ago, I can't recall what page it was on, stated that they would consider training Errol Spence Jr. However, what changed between the time that he said that he would introduce it, that he would consider it, and the time where he just said what you heard him say on the Rise Podcast? Shout out to the Rise Podcast. Subscribe to the Rise Podcast. Well, what happened was what they explained. Hey, man, those guys got together after the Frank Martin fight. You had Errol there. You had Derrick James there. And you had Calvin Ford and those guys. And he said, hey, man, if everybody was amicable and was all good, hey, we would consider it, but not if Derrick James isn't cool with it, because look, man, we're not going to go ahead and start poaching each other's fighters. We don't want to get involved in that. Now, also, there could be, I'm sure, though this has not been said by anybody, hey, man, if you want to look at it negatively, you could say, do I really want to hire somebody that's getting sued by their trainer? Do I want to do that? I would just say that, yeah, you should probably do that. Not necessarily with Errol and Gervonta. Not in that particular situation. I'm saying in other situations, because what you should do is you have a contract and you button down what it is that you're going to get paid. It's not like Errol Spence Jr. didn't pay Derrick James what Errol was always paying Derrick James. It's this, in this particular instance, Derrick James wanted more money than what they had agreed upon in previous fights. Now, maybe Coach Kenny and them are also thinking, hey, man, you know, if I do if Gervonta earns $30 million, I mean, hey, man, I would love to get my hands on $3 million instead of $300,000. But, you know, who knows, man? The most important thing, though, is that at a certain point in time, truth plays out, man. Truth will play out. I personally know that Errol Spence has a reputation for being cheap. That I have heard from people very close to him, but not cheap in a way where he is not going to pay you your worth, or cheap in a way where he's not going to pay you what he owes you, or that he's going to enter into an agreement and not keep his word, but just somebody that's, generally speaking, very frugal. Somebody does not like a lot of money leaving his bank account, likes to see the money in his bank account, right? When he spends money, he's the one spending his money. He's not big on other people spending the money or running up the price on him. And it's just a reasonable way to be, and a good thing, and something that I think more boxers and myself just personally need to be more like in my life. So, you know, he may not be the guy that you're like, hey, man, I'm going to get really, really rich messing with him, because Errol Spence is not the type of guy that's going to say, hey, man, well, I'm going to get very, very poor dealing with you. Right. There's a really good example of this, man, where the mentality that some people have, and I'm not saying one is right or wrong, but if you remember the quarterback, former Atlanta Falcons quarterback, former Philadelphia Eagles quarterback, Michael Vick. Michael Vick had some financial troubles at a point in time, because he was dealing with friends and paying a lot of money out to friends. But he said, look, man, who am I? Man, he's like, I feel like I hit the lottery. And if I hit the lottery, somebody gives me $1 million of cash and I got a couple of my friends that are around me, you don't think I'm going to hook them up a little bit? You know, share that blessings with them? Like, nah, man, I can always go out and go get some more money somewhere, man. No, I'm going to help out my friends. Not everybody's of that mentality, man. And they're definitely not going to be that mentality like that when they're paying somebody a certain amount of money to do a job. But the funny thing also is sometimes people do take advantage of people that they're friends with, that they're close to, and say, nah, like, I'll pay you this amount of money. But if they go hire somebody that's famous and somebody that has a big name around them, they'll pay those guys a lot more money. That's something that most definitely does happen. And I wouldn't be surprised if Errol Spence Jr., if he goes with another big trainer, that the trainer may be able to incorporate in the language of their agreement some things that will allow them to know what kind of bonus structure they would be under for a fight that winds up being on pay-per-view, right? And something that is reasonable, right? Saying, hey, man, because I'm also participating in the promotions itself. So if I am there to speak, you know, at the different promotional events, I'm giving interviews and all of that, I'm kind of help selling the fight a little bit. So how about in the case of if we get paid, what we say, 10% of the bout agreement plus a 2% or 1.5% of revenues connected to the fight, or of total revenue of the fight, right? Not to exceed, right? And then if the other guy wants to come back and give you a not to exceed total, you can do that. But, you know, my wish is that, you know, Derrick James comes up with for the people that work with him, a pay scale that works and can be flexible. And that Errol Spence and he eventually at some point in time get cool, get back on the same page, you know, which is always tough after somebody sues you or whatever. But, you know, anyway, it is what it is. That's my take. But do not expect Errol Spence Jr. to be going over there to Baltimore to go train with Kenny and Kenny and Calvin, because they just don't want to get involved in anything that they consider to be messy. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.